This lesson we're going to be providing some simple table examples of how you can create a table, and then also some additional elements that you can use in applying different structure within your table, including the table footer, table header, and table body. And then within there, we're also applying the call group. How you can group columns together and apply specific properties and attributes to those columns within the call group. So that's all coming up in this lesson. Table element in HTML represents tabular data. So this is a way to present information in a two-dimensional type table. So I'll give you some basic examples of tables, and then also using the different elements in HTML to construct a table. So the main parent for a table is going to be the table element, and then you also can also have a table head. So this is represented with the TH element, and then within the TH we can add in table rows, so that's the TR. And then within the table rows, if this is a header, you can use the TH and set a call span. So if you want to have a call span value, and what this does is this allows you to span across multiple columns. So I'm going to set a call span of 3 because I'm estimating my table will have 3 columns within the data area. And I'll just call it my data. And then just beneath the table head, we can set up a table body. And within the table body, we start out with the rows. So these are going to represent the different rows within the table. So let's save that. And right now, all we do is we get the my data. We want to add in within the rows. We want to have a bunch of cells. So the first cell can just have the word 1. The next cell can have 2. And the next one can be 3. So this can represent the data that I want with the 3 columns. And if you want more columns of data, you can add as many columns as you want, and they're all going to flow down that way. Let's also apply some basic styling. So with the table elements, there isn't any distinction between the different columns. It just structures the data in this type of output. So in order to add the visible borders, you can set the borders within styling, and that's usually typically the best way to do that. You can also apply it within the table attributes, but the best way is to creep it within the styling, and that way you can have consistency across all of your tables within your web page. So selecting the main table, let's apply a border. So this border is going to be applied to the parent of the table. And I'm going to select the grayish type color, so just do 444. So that wraps the parent of the table. You can also set a border for the table cells and using the border property. So if you want the same border color for them, you can actually just comma separate these out and combine the properties to the elements, to the classes and elements. So now we've got the my data, the top there, and the table. Also, let's select for the table head. So for that element, and set a property for the table head. So let's do a color there for the head, and I'll set the color to be white, and we'll do the background color of that element, and we'll set it to be black. So that will add in this type of effect for the table head. You can also do very simplified tables. So if they're just representation of some table data, you can set up a table itself and then have the table rows, table cells, and then some data within each one of the table cells. And I'll just do it as a 2-column table. And the more that you add in, the more it's going to adjust by itself. So that's this table there. I'll add a horizontal rule, so we've got some separation between the different types of tables. And then, of course, we can add in as many table rows as necessary. And also update the top example. So where we're using the table head, the table body, we can also have an option for the table foot. And this is meant for like the footer area of the table. So let's set this one up and table row. And this one as well can have a call span of 3, so it goes across all of the columns. And this can just be where any footer content might go for the table. And then you can also select that element individually and set a text align, so we can center align the text within the footer if we want. Notice that within the table head, the text is already center aligned, so that's one of the properties within the table head. If for a table, if we want to group and highlight a particular column, we can do that as well within using the column group. So this allows us to apply specific properties within the column group, and this will be for the columns themselves. So if we want a property for the first column, and because we've got 3 columns, we can do it this way where we're separating it out by column and then column, and this way we can select and apply different properties for the columns. So doing a style, and let's set a background color of red to that column. So that's going to align and highlight the column to be red. Do the next one and set this one to be blue. So that will do the second one as blue, and then we can also apply it to the third one if we have a different color that we want to use for the third one. So if we want to do green. So this will automatically highlight those specific columns. If we want to merge a couple columns together, then we can set the span and equal the span to be 2. And setting that attribute will select, instead of having the columns separated, we can keep them all within 1 in order to apply the span and the background coloring for that. And of course, with styling and within the style sheets, you can apply the different colors as needed to the elements. So if we wanted to have a table that was all the way across, we could do 33% for that property, for the width property, and that will extend the available spacing for the table. And if we do the table itself, we can set a width for the table, and I can set a width of 100% for the table. So that will expand all of the tables 100% across. And I'll just set it as a max width to go 100%. So that will make it more. So you can do 100% if you want the tables to go all the way across. And of course, adjust as needed for the page elements with styling.